affirmative action has already been banned in a number of different states for a number of years. States like Arizona, California, by the way, Florida, Idaho, Michigan, Nebraska, New Hampshire, Oklahoma, and Washington. At the University of North Carolina, white students have been overrepresented for the past 30 years, with the white freshman class approaching racial parity only in 2020. Black students have remained underrepresented by around 10 points. You can see Harvard's freshman enrollment changing over time in this map. So basically, just roll back those. Go to the states that already have bans against it, and you can see when the ban was initiated, generally whatever effect towards equity had been seen, within a few years, 50% of that was gone. That's what we've seen in a number of different states, including in California. So, look, this is going to drastically affect the lives of literally millions of people, Sharon, and it just sucks to be like right on the verge of it, knowing the cliff that we're about to plunge into.
Yeah, it does. And as you were ticking off the stats and how far we've come and how much we've lost, it seems like an advantage to me. If your mommy, your daddy, your grandpa, and everybody else went to that North Carolina college, it seems like an unfair advantage. And that's what I'm talking about. You should be the ones, filing the lawsuits. You're dead on that all they have to do is scare people, and that's their low bar grading on a curve threshold. But there are things that we can do instead of just pointing out that Clarence Thomas, he probably doesn't have mirrors in his home. I don't even know if he knows he's black and grew up in the South. I mean, it's that serious. I think he's surrounded by people who don't look like him for sure, but also think a certain way, and he's been indoctrinated, or is self-preservation and what he can get out of this thing. But at the end of the day, who cares about him? Pack the court, figure it out, and get it done. If you truly value things that you say you value, it's time for a more aggressive approach here.
Yeah. Bear in mind, by the way, although in the case I'm about to cite, the conservatives did not win. When it came to that insanely gerrymandered, I believe it was Alabama map that the Supreme Court effectively overturned, Clarence Thomas was fine with that. He wanted that to continue. Again, look, I guess that's his ideology.
There's no mirrors in his house, John. There's no mirror.
Yeah,
you understand? Okay.
And when you look at polls of conservative white Americans, they believe that like the principal victim of racism in the country is and has been white people. So to them, rolling back minimal judicial protections against race-based gerrymandering, or minimal consideration of race as one of many factors in college admissions. Yeah, no, you do have to get rid of those because we have been being attacked by the system for decades, and now finally there will be equality. Jesus. By the way, I'm glad that you brought up, the legacy, because there will be right wingers coming out of this being like, yes, now there is no consideration of race. Race is not going to give you preference to any of these things. That's so. I don't know. As you pointed out, there's legacy. Obviously, if you were to break down by racial demographics, there's gonna be differences in prior generations college enrollment, which means that if you are giving consideration to people who had parents or grandparents that went to college, that is a racial advantage for certain races and not for others. Standardized testing, which has been shown to have racially discriminatory impacts used in the admissions of many colleges, that is a racial effect on it. College essays, by the way, the people who are grading college essays, there's long been shown to be like a preference for people who come from the same cultural background as them. They evaluate essays based on that. That is a racial influence on college admissions. And what we're sketching out here is basically all of it, other than maybe GPA. And I have a feeling that probably has some effects on it too. So like they are taking away one racial impact on admissions and then leaving all of the other racial impacts on admissions, basically.
Yeah, it makes no sense, and they make no sense. It's mind-boggling unless this is what you're into and this is your thing. I went to Georgetown University, okay, the hilltop, and I can't tell you. You look to the left, you look to the right. I went to school with so many legacy students. So many legacy students, but you're right, because there's this mad goofball wing that is so fringe, right? But then there's those other people that you talked about who are God, it's painful to get it out. Good people who actually believe that they are the victims of affirmative action, that it's taking what belongs to them. Good people who've been indoctrinated to believe this, who don't know their history, don't know their facts. And if they live in Florida, much of the country, but specifically Florida, that's gonna continue, by the way. Okay, more generations not knowing their history. But it's really sad because you have to win those people over. And I don't know how you do that. It's like Barack Obama said, you can't bomb everyone. We gotta win hearts and minds here. There's not enough ammunition to kill off all the people who hate us. So you gotta win hearts and minds. And I don't know how you do that when we're surrounded and swimming. We're literally swimming in lies.
Look, how do you convince people that just constantly looking for excuses to see yourself as the victim is not the best way to live your life? It's easier, and a lot of people, particularly intellectually, are quite lazy. And that's what they're playing on. That is how you can have that in the structural inequity of the Electoral College, the distribution of Senate seats between rural states and all that. That is how you have right wingers still able to sort of compete at the national level. Yeah, it's just a lot of laziness, a lot of just wanting to believe. They're just desperate to believe that they're better, automatically by birth, better than other people.
I want a mirror that shows me as 30 pounds lighter than I am, and then I just don't have to bother to do the work. If I could just have that funhouse mirror. Are there the ones that are in the reverse? They make you look skinny. That's what
I've been in circuses that have that, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll just grab one of those and then there's no need to do the work. I have a Peloton sitting over there that's full of dust.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.